Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to Legend of the Five Rings, the card game, the living card game, core box set. This is video number 5, the final video of the core box set. We've gotten there. So this is the Conflict Cards Part 2. So in the video 4, or Conflict Cards Part 1, we went through the first 4 clans being Crab, Crane, Dragon, and Lion. In this one, we're going to go through the Conflict cards, which have the brown wood back for Phoenix, Scorpion, Unicorn, and the unclaimed cards, as well as at the end we're going to look at the roll cards. And I only save them for the end because they're an optional thing in the game. But as you start buying expansions, you'll see there's lots of cards that only work if you use those roll cards. So it's an odd optional type of card because you don't have to use them, but then it's going to restrict some of the expansion deck building stuff. Yeah, so go back, check out that videos 1, we went through the rules and overview, and videos 2 and 3, we went over all the dynasty cards. So yeah, check those out if you missed those. But let's go ahead and hop into these and see what we have. So we're going to start with our Phoenix clan. So we have Ishkin Initiate, who's a Shugenja Void. This character gets +1 military and political might for each claimed ring. So this is kind of fun, because that means as the conflicts go on, they're just going to get stronger. So the first one, they're a 1-1. Then the next round, they're going to be a 2-2, then a 3-3, then a 4-4 in the last one. Assuming a ring gets claimed each time. And if there's any other additionally to claim another ring, it could potentially be a 5-5 by the last one or earlier. So that kind of makes them kind of neat. They just get more powerful, so you might want to save them off till the end, or your opponent might want to find a way to deal with them before they get to that last conflict. Alright, we have the Seeker of Knowledge. Courtier, Shugenja, and Air. Well, this character is attacking. The contested ring gains the Air element. If this character wins a conflict as an attack, you may choose which of its ring effects to resolve. No, that's the neat effect, is if you win, you have the option of doing Air or whatever the other one was. So if you really like the Air, you can keep using it more often. Our first attachment for the Phoenix, the Magnificent Kimono. Attached character gains Pride. After the character wins a conflict, honor it. After the character loses a conflict, dishonor it. It's an interesting way to be able to honor guys. The Grasp of Earth. Spell and Earth. It's attached to a Shugenja character you control. Action during a conflict, bonus attachment. The opponent's characters cannot move to this conflict or be played from the hand until the end of the conflict. So if you drop this one out right off the bat, it's going to just limit what your opponent can add to the conflict and do stuff. So this could be very helpful. Alright, so we have Pacifism. Condition. This attachment cannot be played during a conflict. Attached characters cannot participate in military conflicts. A peaceful environment leads to a peace of mind. So as we learned in the last video, I was trying to figure out when you play a card during a conflict, since conflict cards need to be played during a conflict. So before each attacker phase, so each player then gets two attack phases. Player 1, 2, then 1, then 2. Before you actually declare your attacker, there's a brief window to do actions, which lets you do any of your regular actions or play attachments. Basically setting up the field before you declare an attacker. So then you might ward off your opponent from doing something. So you might drop this on the turn and be like, I'm going to play this before I start before my opponent declares their attacker, because I'm on the defender side. Now they know they can't play attachments. Oh crap, they were planning on doing that. Now they have to change up their plans, and they may not attack this turn. So some cool stuff like that. Our first event here, Supernatural Storm, Spell and Water. Choose a participating character that gains +X military and political until the end of conflict. X is equal to the number of Shugenja characters you control. So having more guys just makes this more powerful. So yeah, one of the things I mentioned in the last video too is like some events cost 0, and I'd be like, well, that's cheap for this potentially really nice effect. But it's also not just number of characters, number of Shugenja characters. So, I mean, if you build your character with only Shugenja, then yeah, this can always be a powerful card. But if you only have 1 or 2 out, then it's only plus 1 or 2, which, what do you put that as a cost? You can't make it a 5 cost, because no one's going to play it unless they have, they could play something else cheaper. You make it a 1 cost always, again, there might be something else where they can always guarantee they're going to get plus 1 or 2 for a 1 cost versus, a chance. Our philosophies, so we saw these last time. There's some cool artwork. The Way of the Phoenix. Action: choose a ring and an opponent. That player cannot declare conflicts of that ring's element this phase. And that's the entire phase. So that just shuts him down for all the different conflicts. Against the Waves. Spell and Water. Choose a Shugenja character. Bow or ready that character. Water is ever changing. Against the Wave, a movement and a torrent of force the next. That's also fun because you can target your opponent's characters. Know the World. Spell and Void. Switch a ring you claimed in the ring pool with an unclaimed ring and gain all the fate on that ring. Retain the ring's conflict. So if the ring is currently conflicted in Earth, you could select Air. Basically, you're stealing that air so your opponent can't use it, and you're gaining all the fate down there. But it's still an Earth conflict for the turn. And then, finally, for Phoenix, we have Display of Power. Spell and Fire. After you lose an unopposed conflict, cancel the ring effect of that conflict, then resolve that ring effect as if you had won the conflict as the attacking player and claim that ring. Very cool. Yeah, so these guys are all about getting to play them spells, but they like to play around with the elements. They want certain rings, they want to control what rings are being contested or uncontested and stuff like that, so they can manipulate certain cards and effects. Very fun. Alright, then we have our red color, our Scorpions. Adept of Shadows, Bushi and Shinobi. Action: lose 1 honor, return this character to your hand. There are already dozens of ways to hide. Only 1 way to be seen. So that's kind of nice. So this is, you could potentially lose honor, which Scorpions have bonuses for having less honor. So this is just a simple way for you to always lose some. Or if your opponent plays like an attachment or something on this guy and they're going to defeat them or remove them, you could, instead I'm going to play this action and bounce him back to my hand. Unassuming Yojimbo, Bushi and Yojimbo. Covert, character attacks. Choose a character without covert. That character cannot be declared as a defender. So it's just a sneak in there. We have the Court Mask. Item, mask, attached to a character you control. Action, return this attachment to your hand and dishonor attached character. So it's a way to purposefully, in general, it's just a way for you to dishonor if you need to dishonor a character for some reason. But there are also some Scorpion cards that could potentially let you steal your opponent's characters. So now you're controlling them, and then you could dishonor them while you're controlling them. We have Fiery Magnus. It's just -2/-2, and Poison. Had they considered every possible vulnerability save 1. So this is a fun thing where you can actually reduce your opponent's stuff versus powering you up. Forged Etiquette. Interrupt. When the effects of an event would initiate, dishonor a friendly courtier character. Cancel those effects. Nice. Again, playing with the dishonor ability, but canceling some effects is really powerful. The philosophy for the Way of the Scorpion. Action: during a conflict, choose a participating non-Scorpion character, dishonor that character. To combat the liars, the thieves, and the traitors within the great clans, Bayushi's followers would have to lie, steal, and cheat in turn. Nice. Nice, cool card. Calling in favors, dishonor a friendly character. Choose an opponent's attachment, take control of that attachment, and attach it to that character, if able. Otherwise, discard the attachment. So that's nice. Either stealing attachment or you always get rid of it. Scorpion gets a second philosophy, the story of the scorpion and the frog with I can swim. But Scorpion, now we will both die. During a conflict, if the bid on your honor dial is higher than your opponent's, choose a participating dishonored character controlled by that opponent and discard that character. So next, just way to manipulate the field. We have Ambush. During a conflict, choose up to 2 Scorpion characters with a total printed cost of 6 or lower from your hand or provinces. Put those characters into play as participating characters. So this is nice because you can pull guys from your provinces as well. And then the final Scorpion card is Blackmail, which says, play only if you are less honorable than your opponent. And we've seen several cards that let you either pay honor or you can dishonor your characters, and if they leave, you have less honor. Just gotta keep in mind though that your honor is, if you lose out all of it, you lose the game, so you don't want to spend it too heavily. Action during conflict, choose a character that printed 2 cost or controlled by your opponent. Take control of that character until the end of the conflict. Right here, so if you have less honor, you can do this. Steal one of their characters, use them in this or that. But if you have that mask we saw before, you can attach it to them and then return it back to your hand, and now they're dishonored. So they're going to get a dishonored character back. And if you can then remove it somehow, hey look, they lose more honor as well. So it's an interesting combat. It's a big combo, but it's very possible. Alright, our final colored clan in purple, we have the Unicorns. Uchi Wayfinder, Sugenja, Water, and Cavalry. Reaction. After his character enters play, look at the face down province. Chase the stun, discover the world. So this could help you for, one, obviously looking at your opponents and seeing what one maybe has potentially the weakest thing you can attack. It's when you can take out that ability you want to get. You can also use it to look at your own, because you get looked down at the beginning of the game, but then you're not allowed to look again. So this could be a way for you to potentially remind yourself what's under one of your cards to know if you should play a holding on it or not, or defend it stronger, in case you forgot. Eyed Messenger, Courtier. During a conflict, spend 1 fate. Choose a character you control, move that character to the conflict. Just get out purple. Let's just get guys into battle. Favored Mount, Creature. Attached to a character you control, gains Cavalry. I love anything that gives keywords. Action during a conflict, abolish attachment, move attack character of the conflict. So, let's just bring a guy into battle quicker. Spyglass, item engaging, or gazing, which is usually white man, but it's also just foreigner, I believe. Reaction, after attack character commits to a conflict or moves to a conflict, to draw 1 card. And we have a lot of stuff that lets us do that. Boring in War, cavalry characters only. X is equal to the number of unclaimed rings. So yeah, early on, charging, and you're going to have a bunch of extra military might. For events, we have Breakthrough. After the resolution of your first conflict this phase, the attacking player, that conflict broke a province, immediately declare a second conflict. So that's a pretty powerful one. If you break through, you do your second conflict immediately. Your opponent still gets both of theirs, but you get a chance to disrupt their forces even farther after that. Captive Audience. During a political conflict, lose 1 honor, change the conflict type to military. Now you must heed our demands. That, I think, is also a great card. Lots of these are just great cards. I am ready to remove 1 fate from a friendly unicorn character to ready that character. Our philosophy for Way of the Unicorn: interrupt when you would pass the first player token, keep it instead. 1 cannot capture the wing. So yeah, this is neat because normally our conflicts are player 1, then player 2, then player 1, then player 2. So in the next round, you become the defender first. This lets you stay the attacker again. Keeps letting you press that advantage. And our last unicorn card is Cavalry Reserves. Action. During a military conflict, choose up to 6 printed cost worth of cavalry characters in your dynasty discard pile. Put those characters into play into the conflict. So cost 3, but it also has a specific requirements. Has to be a conflict, and it has to be 6 costs, and it has to be cavalry characters. All up with purple is not going to be too terribly hard to do. So cool. Those are our different colors. Each have their different effects. The next thing we're going to look at are our unclanned cards. So these can go in any deck. Now, unlike the rest of the cards in the game, we have multiple copies of these. Because you have to share them between the base starter decks. So we have, lots of them have 2, but not all of them. So I'll kind of go through which ones have which. So you have 2 copies of Fine Katanas, which are just restricted weapons. So very simple, very cheap, gets you +2 military. And then to go with that, we have 2 copies of Ornate Fan, which is a restricted item, which gives you 2 political. So just kind of, if you need either heavily lean towards one or you need the other one to back up your stuff, you can use it to support your deck. We have 2 copies of Cloud the Mind, Spell Air. Play only if you control a Sanjinja character. Treat the attached character as if a printed text box were blank. So you can attach this to another character to basically remove all of their stuff. Or if for some reason, maybe if your character has some sort of negative effect, like they cost really cheap, but they have a negative effect to them, to be coming out cheap for big stats, you could get rid of that ability as well, which is kind of a neat idea. 2 copies of Assassination. During a conflict, lose 3 honor. Choose a character, the printed cost of 2 or lower, discard that character. 2 copies of Banzai. During a conflict, choose a participating character. That character gets +2 military till the end of the conflict. You may lose 1 honor to resolve this ability twice, so you can give them up to +4. 2 copies of Contingency Plan. After honor dials are revealed, increase or decrease the value of your bid by 1 to a minimum of 0. The only thing certain is something will go wrong. So this could help you either get 1 up, so you win the duel, or go 1 down if you want your opponent to have to pay more honor, or to make sure you're not even, you could go one direction or the other. Maybe you're playing Scorpion and you want to lose, so your opponent has to pay some extra honor to you, or maybe you're Scorpion and you want to win and you want to pay more. This could be definitely a way to do it as well. So interesting. 2 copies of Court Games. During a political conflict, select 1. Choose an honor of participating character you control, or your opponent chooses and dishonors a participating character he or she controls. And the less guys in a conflict, the less options they have. Very interesting there. 2 copies of For Shame. During a conflict, if you control a participating courtier character, choose a participating character controlled by your opponent. The opponent must select 1. Dishonor the chosen character or bow it. So either they're going to potentially lose some military political might, or they have to just basically bow, which means it doesn't get to participate in the conflict. Just a very interesting there. I always like forcing my opponent to choose stuff. We have 2 copies of Good Omen. Play only if your honor bid is lower than your opponent's. Action: choose a character the printed cost of 3 or higher, place 1 fate on that character. So yeah, if you bid lower than your opponent, you get a chance there to like keep one of your guys around a little bit longer. 2 copies of, looks like we have 2 copies of all of these. I didn't realize that, or I would have just said that. Spies at the Court. Reaction: after you win a political conflict, dishonor a friendly participating character. Discard 2 cards at random from your opponent's hand. Ooh, that could be very mean. 2 copies of Charge. I love that this have the colored flags on it. This just makes me think of like, you have like battle games like Halo, or like Red versus Blue, obviously, which is in Halo, or new shooter games like Overwatch, Marvel Rivals. Just imagine I want to play one where instead of having shooters and guns, you just have samurais. And he's running around with like costumes with their big giant flags on the back, so which team they're on. Obviously, yes, they have Dynasty Warriors, and I know that, but that's a different thing. During a political conflict, choose a character in one of your provinces, put that character into play in conflict. So yeah, let's get a guy from your province out during your conflict phase, which is really nice. 2 copies of Falling in Battle. After you win a military conflict by 5 or more, choose a participating character, discard that character. 2 Outwits. During a conflict, choose an opponent's character with lower political skill than participating courtier character you control, move the chosen character home. Just get rid of some guys. And then the last one is the 2 copies of Root. During a conflict, choose an opponent's character with lower military skill than participating Bushi character control, move chosen character home. So you have one that lets you send home a character during political, and one lets you send home versus military. So the unclaimed cards are really nice because lots of them, like, they have one that does one for political, one that does one for military. But the idea is just to kind of either strengthen your deck, like if you're lacking something, you're lacking political might or you're lacking military might, you can get cards that would help boost you up for those. Or you could go more on the offensive. You have really high military, play more cards that are going to give you more military might and just boost up your already existing stuff. So very cool to do that. So they have 2 copies of each. It's the idea so that way when you play the core set and you're separating your decks out, like, oh, I'm going to play the Lion Clan stuff, I'm going to play the Scorpion. You can each have at least 1 copy of one of these cards as a potential. So we still only have 1 copy of every card is the idea. And then what will happen, though, that's the kind of the downside of this is now if you only buy your 3 core sets, you have 3 copies of every other card, is now you're going to have 6 copies of these. And you're never going to really need more than 3 again unless you're building multiple decks. It's kind of nice to have those. But then you get into that thing of like, if are you buying your collection so that you have 3 acts, like you as a player have 3 copies of every card so you can build any deck, or are you playing with 2 or 3 other players, like in your gaming group or family, you're all playing with 1 set. So now everyone has to share access. That means these unclaimed cards are going to be rarer to have. But even if you buy a regular expansion pack, they have 3 copies of every card. That still means that the unclaimed cards you only have 3 copies of. So either one person gets all 3 of them, or you have to spread them amongst every player. So, and that's the downside of the living card games to an extent, is that it's almost like each player needs to buy their own set so that they have access to 3 of everything. But you can all play with 1 set. It just means when you get to some of these cards like this, or the in-clan cards like a bamboo on the bottom, and you're trying to share them, you have less options. Alright, so then the last bunch of cards we have are our role cards. So role cards are completely optional, which you can pick at the beginning of the game. But like I did say, there are a bunch of stuff in the expansion. There are some cards that require you to have a certain role card to even be able to use or include in your deck. So like, it will influence your deck building with those cards, but obviously if you don't want to use roles, you just won't use those cards and skip them. Each role is for one of the 5 elements, and then it has 2 sides. There's a keeper side, and it has a seeker side. And the abilities are more or less the same for each one. They're just of the different elements. And they're going to help, and they're going to work with your deck building as well. So here if we have the Keeper of Air, which has the keywords Keeper and Air. So there's going to be some cards that will say Keeper cards only. So it doesn't matter what element it is, it just has to be the Keeper side. Or vice versa, Seeker side. There are other ones that might say Air role only, which then it doesn't matter if it's the Keeper or Seeker side as long as it's the Air card. Yeah, so it's kind of interesting there. So the Keeper side say increase your deck building influence value by 3. This is again on the bottom of our Stronghold. Grab one of those guys quick, we'll take a look. So here we have our Stronghold, it has 10, now it ups it to 13. So it lets you play basically 1, 2, 3 more extra cards from out of clan. So it just helps you boost up that a little bit. And then on the bottom it says, reaction after you win an air conflict as a defending player, gain 1 fate. So yeah, if you win any conflict, defending against air, you're going to gain an extra fate. So it's kind of just like a little extra boost. I wouldn't necessarily build my deck around that ability. You could, but I don't know if it's viable, because out of the 4 conflicts, unless you're playing something like with the Phoenix, where you can like add conflict types and stuff like that, which most clans don't do or do that often, you're only going to get this ability maybe once every full phase or full round. Because you're only going to be able to do that conflict once. So is it worth building a deck around the ability? I'm going to switch like all the keepers have the same thing there. So keeper Earth, increase it by 3. Instead, if you win a Earth conflict, you gain a fate. Fire, same thing, except it's fire conflict. Water is water conflict. And void is void conflict. So that'll work the same way. This is just to help you take the keeper side if you want to increase your influence by 3, so you can add some extra cards. Then if we flip to the seeker sides, we have, you may replace 1 province of any element with an additional water or air element province with deck building. Normally you can only have the 5 elements. You have your stronghold, which will be your 1 element, and then your other 4 provinces, which have to be the other 4 elements. This lets you actually double up your same thing. So this could get you double ones for your clan, or it could be an unclanned one, which gets you some extra bonuses as well. So yeah, so if we look at that, we have our various provinces. So here, if we have the Art of Peace, it says the air for cranes says when you interrupt, this province is broken. Disarm each attacking character and honor character. So if I'm playing as this and I have this as one of my provinces, I want my clan specific one, I wouldn't be able to use Fertile Fields or Magic Garden because they're both air, but now I can include one of those as well. Yeah, so it's very neat that it lets you just add that extra little thing in there. And that has reaction. After an air province you control is revealed, gain 1 fate. And this is, again, typically going to get you 2 fate. If you're using the extra ability, you can get 1 for your main one for your additional. But it's going to be random on kind of when it happens. You have to wait for it revealed. And then there's a couple times you might be able to flip a province face down, but not often. So again, it's going to potentially get you 2 extra fate throughout the game, but not too crazy enough, I think, to build a deck around. And all the other seekers are the same thing. 1 additional Earth province revealed, gain 1 fate. 1 for fire, 1 for water, and 1 for void. Now, so they only have these ones are the specific ones. I don't believe I've seen in any other small expansion they've added any other roles. I'm not sure some of the bigger expansions add some roles. I really wish they would. It'd be kind of neat. I get these are just, it's called Seeker or Void, but they can easily just have a different name and just keep the Seeker and Void subtypes so you can link them. But that'd definitely be cool if they made at least 1 set or 2 sets of alternate abilities. Just maybe some different deck building options, or the other side doing something with your provinces, right? Because that'd be a fun way to change up the game a little bit by adding these additional cards. So those are our different roles. They're not super crazy. They're kind of just to set up your game, and then you get a minor ability. But again, for the deck building purposes, there are certain cards that will require these. Which, I don't think there were any in this set that said that. Did I remember at least? I could always be wrong about that as well. I may have missed something. But I don't think they had any in here necessarily because they didn't want to force people to have to use it while they're learning the game. Alright, that is what we have for Legends of the 5 Rings. Hope to hear you guys in the comments. Hit me up. Check out the rest of the videos. I will be going through some of the big box expansions. I will be going through the cycle packs, the dynasty packs. Sure. So yeah, when I get to the dynasty packs, there are 6 small packs. I'm gonna probably do 2 videos, and then I'm gonna do one where I just do a quick video showing this pack has these cards, this pack has these cards. Just so you can if you want to know what's in each individual pack, you can go ahead and check those out. And I'm going to do a fuller video like I did with these, where I go through and talk about each card and read everything off. But I think there I'm just going to combine all the packs together, so I can just do like all the same clans, that instead of doing 2 cards for this clan, 2 for Dynasty, 2 for each clan for Dynasty, 2 for each for Conflict, then do the next one. Just kind of mix them all together, so it's all the crab cards, then all them, Dynasty, then all the Conflict. Then you're opening up like 12 cards, 12, 14 cards of each. Just you can kind of see the synergy between that cycle a little bit better. So yeah, kind of look out for those depending on which one you'd rather see. And then we'll eventually have the clan decks as well in the big box expansions. See you guys later. Bye.